Okay, with problem number 14, we start our section on the word problems. Two angles are complementary if their sum is 90 degrees. So we have an angle, or rather we have two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So we would say that this angle is x. Then we can say that this angle is whatever is left over from 90 after x is used up. But the two angles together add up to 90 degrees. And we want to find two complementary angles if the second angle is twice the first. So complementary meaning that the two angles have to add up to 90 degrees. And one angle has to be 2 times the second angle. So if we take out that 90 minus x there, and instead we define the other angle as 2 times whatever x is. Now, x may look bigger in the picture than the 2x does. None of that matters. But we have two angles that have to add up to be 90 degrees. So it's 2x plus x, and that's 3x is 90 degrees, or x is equal to 30 degrees. So then the second one has to be twice the first one, so it will be 60 degrees. So our two angles are 30 and 60. So 30, x equals 30, 2x equals 60 is our answer to problem number 14. All right, and we'll scroll up a little bit to fit in problem number 15 here. So, in problem number 15, Yohannes invested $24,000 in two different money market funds. And the first one paid 5% per year, and the second paid 3% per year. He earned a total profit of $1,120 in 1 year, and how much did he invest at each rate? So, we'll start with the 5%. We know that interest is principal times rate times time. So this would be principal the rate and the time. Since the time is not mentioned here, or time is 1 year, the time really doesn't, it just becomes 1. And so what we're really working with here is just the interest is going to be the principal, that is the amount invested, times the rate. So first of all, we have $24,000. We're going to take out a certain amount of that and invest it at 5%. So the principal times the rate would be 0.05. We convert the 5% to a decimal, times how much? We don't know, so we call it x. So that would be the interest on the money invested at 5%. Now, we still have another sum of money that's invested at 3%. Now, how much is invested at 3%? Well, we don't know that either. But we do know something very important, that the total amount invested is $24,000, and that we've already used up X of those dollars in the other fund. So what's left to be invested at 3% is 24,000 minus X. So you have principal times rate plus principal times rate is going to equal our, in each of those, our small amounts of interest are going to add up to our total interest of $1,120 for that 1 year. So now we have an algebraic equation, and all we have to do is start to multiply that out. So 0.05x plus 3 times 0.03 times 24,000. For that, we'll bring in our calculator. 0.03 times 24,000. And that gives us 720. Minus 0.03x is equal to 1,120. So now we have two like terms, the 0.05x and the 0.03x, or the 0.05x and the negative 0.03x, which yield 0.02x plus 720 equals 1120. Subtract 720 from both sides. 0.02x is equal to 400. Divide both sides by 0.02. We can bring our calculator back for that. 400 divided by 0.02 is equal to 20,000. So x is 20,000. That's the amount that is invested at 5%. And the additional amount, 24,000 minus x, would be 4,000. So invested at 5%, and the 4,000 is invested at 3%. And that does it for problem number 15. All right, with problem number 16, we have the sum, that's the addition, of three consecutive numbers is 255. We recall that consecutive numbers means three numbers that are in a row, three whole numbers in a row. That would be 100, 101, 102, or 24, 25, 26. So what's important here is the first number. We don't know what that is, so we call it x. But if x is 20, then the next number would be 21. It's just one more than what x is. So we have the first number, then plus one more than the first number, then plus two more than the first number. And that gives us the three numbers which added together are equal to 255. And so once you get that set up, the rest of it flows pretty easily. We have 3x plus 3 equals 255. Subtract 3 from both sides, and 3x is equal to 252. And if you divide that out on your calculator, 252 divided by 3 is equal to 84. So that means that the smallest number would be 84, one more than 84 would be 85, and two more than 84 would be 86. And so our answers are 84, 85, and 86 for problem number 16. All right, we'll finish up this video with problem number 17. We have a number. Do we know what the number is? We don't, so what do we call it? We call it x plus 1/2 of the number. X plus 1/2 of x is equal to 48. So at this point, we can multiply both sides by our common denominator of 2, which is a strategy we've been using. And x plus 1/2 x. That'll make it easier to work with the fractions. There are other ways of doing this as well. So we're going to get 2 times x is 2x. Then 2 times 1/2 x is just 1x. So we end up with 2x plus x is equal to 96. 3x is 96. And x would be equal to 32. So 32, half of 32 is 16. 32 plus 16 is 48. And so that's going to be our number that we're looking for there. So we'll end this video now and begin the next video with the next collection of problems.